Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my channel. Ramadan Mubarak. I just wanted to make this video really quick. We finished eating sari a little while ago, and I'm just trying to stay up until Ishraq because we're in the last 10 days of Ramadan, and you know, we've been staying up every night, and it's yeah, in the daytime it's kind of hard to function, so I wanted to make this before I start to get groggy later on this morning. And it's really just a reflection, a point of reflection for me, and a reminder hopefully for someone out there, as well as a reminder for myself that we're in the last 10 days of Ramadan al-Mubarak, and this time of year, or around, you know, this time during the month of Ramadan every year, has a personal, how do I say this? It has a personal effect on me because it was around this time in my life, about 8 or 9 years ago, where it was a real pivotal point in my life where a lot of things had to get turned around. I am trying not to get emotional because I'm not going to tell this story, but, or maybe I'll tell it in another video, but that's not what this video is about. It's not a story time type of video, it's more of a reminder, that I don't know who will watch this, or if you are going through any test and trial in your life, but I just wanted to say, do not despair in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and don't lose hope. It was roughly 8-9 years ago, 8.5 years, something like that, because we're not quite in August, and it was August during that time. But it was also Ramadan because, you know, the lunar calendar, so it moves, Ramadan moves around as far as the Gregorian calendar. Anyway, that's not really my point here. Okay, so it was during Ramadan, about, you know, some years ago, towards the end of Ramadan, and I was in a very, very terrible place in my life. Physically, mentally, spiritually, I was in a horrible place. I can't find a word to describe it because, you know, it's never happened to me before. Alhamdulillah, I'm no longer, you know, in that state of mind anymore. But things just were not right in my life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rescued me. And it was so bad before he sent the help that I remember it was like I was like overwhelmed with like I'd lost my mind due to my misery, and things started to show or reflect physically, like the house, my home was it was, you know, dirty or just out of order. If my baby at that time I only had 2 children at that time, but if he would have, like, let's say, spilled applesauce or something while he was eating in the high chair in the kitchen, I wouldn't have even noticed. You know, it would have just been on the floor until it dried, or until my husband accidentally stepped in it and he'd be like, what's going on, you know? But things were getting so bad for me in that mindset, or in that place that I was in, that I remember when I would go to Tarawih, and when all the ladies, when we would go into ruku, I would see my toes and I would see everyone else's toes, or, you know, feet, and my toes were the grungy, dirty ones, and I would try to remember, like, okay, let me remember to scrub my toenails. That's how bad it was. And I would try to remember, because it's embarrassing when I'm in Salat, you know, my toenails were dirty. And I remember at one point I was falling apart, and I stopped praying because I couldn't even make myself get up to go and pray, because the things that were happening, I was just in a very toxic situation. And I remember I stopped reading my program, you know, and I mean Holy Quran and practicing and studying and things like that. And I was really, really sad inside all of the time. I was so sad. So I do remember I wanted to pray, but I didn't know why I couldn't pray, bring myself to make Salat. I'm talking about Salat, the very the very thing that, you know, I want to say that makes us Muslim, but the very thing, the one thing that we owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm trying not to tear up, so just pardon me. You know, I have to take my time with this because I'm not on here to be a messy, teary sob story, but just, you know, in reflection, I'm trying not to say too much and trying not to start crying. But, and it would be more so tears of gratitude, to be honest, you know, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really rescued me. What was I saying? So I was at that point where I knew I should have been praying, but I couldn't bring myself to pray. And alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful that I spent a lot of time learning under my sheikh. And you know, I spent a lot of time at the campus in Lahore, Pakistan, Myanmar village, and there he would always recite these certain lines and ayats and things. And one of them, I'll put it on the screen, but it was وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ وَمَنْ يَتَّوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَالِغُ أَمْرِهِ قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. He would recite this all the time, and he would, you know, reinforce and say, you have to remember this, you have to remember this. Whosoever has fear in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will make a way out from him through means of which he cannot even imagine. And alhamdulillah, due to that time that I spent under him learning that, I was able to remember it in my deepest time of need. So although I couldn't bring myself to pray, I would go into sajda, excuse me, I would go into prostration, and I would recite this because I couldn't understand, and I would say, like, I would ask, you know, Ya Allah, I don't understand, why don't you want me to pray to you? Because another thing that I remember learning was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't actually need us to pray to him. We need to pray to him for us. He doesn't need us to pray to him. And this was another ayat or a point of reflection that my sheikh would always say as well, and it was سبح لله ما في السماء بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبح لله ما في السماوات والأرض, or سبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. And it was like everything in creation between the heavens and earth worships or glorifies Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't necessarily need any individual to praise him. We need to praise him for our benefit. So I couldn't understand, like, why doesn't he want me to pray to him? Why, you know, why can't I read his words? Why, you know, what's stopping me? What is the problem here? And I was losing hope. That's the point that I'm trying to make in this video. I was losing hope, and I remember laying on the, not laying flat out, but in frustration, I was head down and begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to please just relieve me. If I am the problem, then remove me. And if this is the problem, then remove me from it. Because all I know at that time, I was so sad that I didn't care what happened to me. I honestly just I remember wanting to die, just be dead. I felt like it wouldn't matter if I went to heaven, hell, it didn't matter to me because I didn't want that pain anymore in this life. I just didn't want that pain. So, I remember my sheikh, my murshid, I call him murshid, which is spiritual guide. Well, nowadays people call it a life coach, but I mean, so anyway. Another lesson that he instilled in me was that you must always have taqwa and total reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alright, so Allah is my witness. The way that I got out of this situation, I used to have a car and my alternator died, and I remember before it died I used to leave early in the morning and come back very late, like close to Maghrib, but because of the time that I would leave, it was like all day that I'd be gone, and I would take, pack my children up and I'd go because I didn't want to be there. And then coming back home, I just, it would make me physically sick. So I just wanted to get out of the toxic environment that I was in. I mean, it's I can't really explain it. It wasn't really my marriage. It was more so the life that it just. Okay, that's not really the point. I can probably tell that in another story, but no time soon. So anyway, so what happened here? Some people that I never met them, never knew they existed before this day, helped me. The way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala worked things out, these people helped me get from point A, the point that I was at, to point B. And when I got to point B, I was so, I want to say, damaged by that time that I remember looking in the mirror. I was in the washroom, the bathroom washroom, and I looked in the mirror and I was getting ready to get in the tub, but I looked in the mirror and my eyes were like this brownish, darkish, the white part, the eyeball. I looked sick, and my teeth were so grimy. They were like this brownish, pasty, and all in between each tooth was like this dark color, brown, muddy. I was like, oh my gosh, I used to forget to brush my teeth because I was so buried so deep in misery that I forgot to brush my teeth. I was forgetting to clean myself, like my toenails, like it was gross. And I just remember getting in that shower and letting the water hit my face and crying. I felt so like I was washing the filth. That was stage one. I was cleansing myself. That was, stage one or step one in my journey to physically clean myself. And because it was still Ramadan, I would get up in the morning and, I would I would take my fast, or I would close the fast in the morning, and I started getting back into reading Holy Quran, making salat again, because I was in a different place. I was in a mentally, physically, everything was getting better for me. So that was step two. So step one was I had to wash that physical filth off. Step two, I had to wash the spiritual filth off. So it was like getting back into reading Holy Quran and making salat again. I had to wash cleanse the qalb, the spiritual heart. And step 3 was, to, how do you say it? I started working on myself as far as a lot of times actually, I call myself a recovering pessimist, because I had to figure out how to start being positive, thinking positive, and becoming a better person for myself and for my children, for my family, because everything anyone said to me, I had a negative response to it. I was letting the situation that I had previously been in, I was letting that eat away at me, and what was inside of me was coming out. When I would talk, it wasn't anything good coming out. I just had negative things to say, and I didn't want to be bothered with anyone, and I didn't want anyone to bother me. Everybody, to me, for a little while, everybody was like out to get me. That's how I perceived it. It was very warped, because I was recovering from this lifestyle, this place that I was in. It was just a really bad place. And I just want to say that although that was almost 9 years ago, I am currently still working on overcoming those feelings when I'm reminded of where I used to be. And I wanted to share with you all and say, never despair in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because His mercy outweighs everything and anything that you are going through or that you have done in your life. Whew. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is greater than it, and it can help you to overcome whatever trials or tribulations you may be going through in your life. You can never go wrong repenting. You can never go wrong going into sajda and begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you and to wrap you or envelop you in His love. Whew. I'm sorry. It's emotional. Hope you all can understand. So what I'm trying to say here is never despair of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He promises, He makes a promise that if you call on Him, He will respond. He may respond in His time, but it's always on time. His time is always on time, despite what you may think. No matter how long it seems like it's been for you, when you return to Him, it would be like you'd only been here for maybe a day. So I just wanted to reflect on the fact that we are in the last 10 days of Ramadan, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is unlimited, and we can depend on Him. So wherever you are, pull it together, Shamailah. Wherever you are, never forget, please, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears you wherever you are. He sees you wherever you are, and He loves to forgive you. So call on Him and ask your friend for His mercy, because He is wanting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves to shower His mercy and His blessings and His forgiveness. He'll shower it on people who don't even believe in Him. So imagine the reward, imagine the relief. Believe that it's there for you. I hope wherever you are that you are having a very blessed month of Ramadan, and that you are taking advantage of these last few days before we say farewell. I hope you take care, and I hope this message was beneficial to someone out there who may have needed to hear it. As-Salamu Alaikum, ورحمة, الله, وبركاته.